Hi, and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. My name is Nick, and today, guys, we're jumping down into the world of Bitcoin, taking a look at what's been going on most recently and what I think is likely to happen next. As I get into today's video, if you do find it useful and informative, smash that like button. I do appreciate that. If you are new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all the notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. If you haven't yet joined us in Discord, what are you waiting for? Check it out. Link is down in the description below. It's a fantastic community talking crypto 24/7. It's completely free, and I don't think you'll be disappointed by what you find down there. So why not go ahead and check it out? Let's jump right down into today's video, kicking things off with that 1 hour time frame. So here we have Bitcoin paired up with USDT on the 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗔𝗥𝗘 spot exchange, 1 hour time frame. And yeah, not much has changed over the weekend, kind of as expected. We kind of spoke a little bit around this yesterday evening on the Cheeky Crypto Uncensored channel. Link is down below if you haven't yet subscribed to that channel. But ultimately, it's a kind of a long, boring, sideways trading weekend. And you can see here that, yeah, we are still targeting down a little bit deeper, right? So 26,400 to 26,180, that is the target range. You can find us basically looking at support on the 50 EMA and 50 SMA. I believe it's the SMA. It is. And we are below the 200 EMA, right? So we know that everything is not looking strong, right? We're in a impulsive break to the downside. We are tracking a fifth wave movement. It looks like wave 4 is now complete with the idea of moving down a little bit further. Of course, we can still be a little bit cautious around maybe a double top there, but for the most part, I'm still expecting us to break down towards 26,400 before bouncing. Okay, this will basically fill out our structure and allow us then to move down a little bit deeper at a later stage. So ultimately on this hourly chart, expect volatility, right? We're overbought on the hourly chart already. We are up and heading to the overbought area on the hourly chart, and Sunday is notorious for a bit of volatility towards the latter part of the day. This is simply because you've got the bulls and the bears fighting out for their weekly close positions, which we'll talk about in a moment. So on our hourly chart, everything is right on track at the moment. There isn't anything to be overly too concerned with here. So let's take this out into the daily time frame. From here, you can see that our targeted range for our daily moves are down towards 22,477 to 23,787. That's not something that is going to happen instantaneously today. This is something that's going to take several weeks to play out. But ultimately, this is the breakdown that Bitcoin is heading into. Now, this might not be something that you want to see, and that's fine. If you don't want to see this, then the invalidation or the breakout area for this particular structure happens at 28,588. So if you're really bullish on Bitcoin and you really want to see a breakout to the upside, then really you're targeting out, trying to rally the price and trying to break it out of the structure at 28,588 or higher. It's at that point that this structure becomes invalidated. The breakout has happened, and we don't have to worry about 22,000, 23,000 under this particular pattern, right? However, if, of course, we do not rally above 28,588, then it's inevitable that we're likely to break on down to the $22,000 to $23,000 range, right? And so, unfortunately, that is where we find ourselves within this particular pattern here. So we might not like it, we might not want to see it, and we kind of know exactly what has to happen, right? If you're bullish on Bitcoin, well, start rallying behind Bitcoin and getting it above 28,588. And if you're bearish on Bitcoin, well, you know what you got to do. You've got to be selling and basically suppressing the price down to the $23,000 to complete your structure. Because completing a 5-wave pattern here essentially is going to lead you down into another 5-wave pattern at a later stage into even deeper ranges, lower than probably $20,000 if I'm being honest. So we have to acknowledge that there's a lot of bearishness here at the moment unless proven otherwise, and the only way to prove otherwise is for the price to rally above, you guessed it, 28,588. Okay, so there you go, right? On the daily chart, not much has changed. We find ourselves sandwiched between the 50 moving average and that of the 200 exponential moving average. And yeah, we aren't really seeing terribly too much price action over the last 4 days or so when it comes to BTC. It's just kind of stuck between the 50 moving average and the 50 exponential moving average, right? And essentially that basically meaning we saw price really move between 26,624 and 27,000, right? It was kind of stuck between those two numbers. Now, when we take this out into our weekly, this is really where the fight is going to be happening today. Okay, we saw a couple of weeks ago the bulls were able to rally above that of the 50 EMA. Okay, and they got this close position right up here, and that close was 27,995. Since then, though, there was a small rally up to 28,592, and then we're moving down and testing the 50 EMA at the $26,894 level, right? So that's kind of where we're finding ourselves right now, right? We're right on the 50 EMA. The bears are going to be looking at closing the price action below that of the 50 EMA. Now, what's really interesting is that the 50 EMA here and the closed position above should have been a big indication and big rally expectations for Bitcoin. Basically, it closed above this major area of resistance that for the last several weeks we were finding as suppressing the price. Closing above this level should have meant that there was going to be a fantastic run because the bulls finally got a close in a really positive position. But that wasn't the case. That wasn't the case simply because there isn't really a lot of demand out there. And ultimately, when there's no demand, there's only really one thing that's going to happen, and price is going to go down. And so realistically speaking, if there isn't really much demand here and price is moving down like this, our expectations are that we are probably going to be slipping down quite a bit further. I don't think we're done with any of this just yet. So we want to be a little bit cautious, right? We want to kind of be bullish, but we can't really be bullish. And so therefore we have to kind of be quite concerned that the price action of Bitcoin is probably being manipulated. We're seeing lots of liquidity getting grabbed, and basically just liquidity is drained from the ecosystem here. So we just want to be a little bit cautious because everything in the background here doesn't look overly too strong. Throw some volumes in here and you can kind of see what I mean. If we zoom out, you can see really good volume coming in here back in kind of like December 2019, 2020, 2021. All of that is looking good. And then as soon as we kind of go into 2022, volumes are dropping. Even into 2023, volumes are dropping, right? Price rallied on very insignificant volume. And that's quite interesting and quite telling at the kind of level of participant that is going in there. What was actually occurring was more manipulative than anything else. And so without the demand to kind of back up the price only really has one way to go because everything becomes imbalanced, right? Supply and demand. And so we are looking for moves to the downside. And as you can kind of see, our curved lines, if you connect the peaks and the troughs, where we are talking about slipping down into new potential bear market low points. Obviously, we don't like to talk about that because people don't want to hear it, but essentially it is what it is. If we don't hold $20,000 Bitcoin, then I think essentially we are going to be looking at much deeper in the way of price action, and that's going to be disastrous to many of the altcoins out there. Okay, so just kind of bear that in mind. I think at this particular point in time, the weekly close, the bears are looking to close below 26,894. And the bulls are looking to close above it, right? If the bears really do take the price down lower than 25,744, then and close down there, then there's going to be a real problem, I think, into next week for BTC's price action. But let me know what your thoughts are on the weekly chart here for Bitcoin. Do you think that we are likely to retest the existing lows from November 2022, or do you think actually we're done there? We'll hopefully find support on the $21,000 level and then rally up from there. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below, but I'm going to wrap this video up right there. If you found it useful and informative, smash that like button. If you're new, subscribe. If you haven't yet joined us in Discord, what are you waiting for? Check it out. Link is down below. Until the next one, have a fantastic day.